I just finished this custom order, an empathy that I recreated from the original that I built almost a year ago, and I found it interesting how much things have changed and how much they stayed the same. So for the most part they look pretty much identical. They work the same way and everything, but I noticed little improvements that I made over time, and I thought that I would just kind of share what I learned. So this is the original one that I made almost a year ago now, and it still works basically the same as it did when I first made it. And what I first noticed was, well, one of the problems with these is when people play with them, they tend to kind of turn them around and do stuff with them, and in this case the head can pop up. On the new one, I've started doing a little like a little blocking spacer here that doesn't allow the head to come up any higher than it needs to just do the mechanism. So now when you turn the thing upside down, the head doesn't fall off. It basically stays where it's supposed to be. The other thing that I really noticed that was different was the quality of my metalwork. So these little spring wires here, back when I first started, I used to try to make a loop and then wrap around to kind of lock it in place, and I used this really thin piano wire, like a steel spring wire, and you can see both on the bottom here and on the top that it's not quite that great a quality, and I don't know, trying to get it to focus, and the wire's bent up a little bit, but it's held up and it's worked just fine. I noticed that it was a little bit sloppy. And my new wires, I don't lock them in place. I just bend them over and make them into a loop. And I use a little bit thicker gauge now because I can just make a loop out of it and not have to wrap it around. And I think it looks a lot cleaner. I tend to use the darker cedar now. I was using this lighter cedar, which is just the sapwood of the cedar tree, where this is the heartwood of the cedar tree. They're both probably the same kind of cedar, although I can't guarantee that. They came from two different batches at the wood store. So anyway, I tend to like the darker cedar better. It just makes it look a little richer. It makes the robot stand out a little bit more. The eyes are just a slight bit different on both. I kind of ended up liking kind of this almost closed look versus this one that almost looks like it's smiling. It's kind of the wrong direction. So I decided to go with the same kind of eyes on both. Anyway, so I thought it was interesting and I thought I would share. I honestly like all the little knots and imperfections in the wood. I think it just makes it a little bit different. Oh, there's another big change. I'm still doing this. I'm still engraving my name and date on the bottom and on some of them. But I did an experiment. I worked with a friend that has a laser, and he put my actual logo on the bottom with the date, and I honestly like the way this looks better. It's just, well, it's my logo. Somebody designed it for me and I really appreciate it. Thanks, Cass. I just like it a lot better than this kind of generic font. But this is what I was able to do with my CNC and a 60-degree V-bit, and this is what's able to be done with a laser. So eventually here I'm going to probably have to buy my own laser to make this work. But so I just thought it was neat to see the 1 year comparison, the two side by side, see what I've changed, what I've kept the same, and I thought you might find it interesting too.